If you are like me and you enjoy it when a piece of media, whether it's anime, literature, music, or any other kind of entertainment, that is all about creating mood, atmosphere, or an aesthetic, then this is the video for you. Ergo Proxy, along with Ghost in the Shell, is one of my all-time favorite pieces of cyberpunk fiction, both within anime and the genre as a whole. There are plenty of things about Ergo Proxy, aside from its themes and amazing story, that make it worthy of getting the treatment of a concept album. The show is known for its unique direction, art style, animation, memorable characters, and its supernatural take on the typical cyberpunk dystopian story. And, most importantly, its excellent use and execution of atmosphere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of Let's Construct a Concept Album, and in today's episode, I will be discussing my ideal concept album themed around the Studio Manglobe classic and directed by the extremely talented Shuko Murase, Ergo Proxy. Roll the intro! As I mentioned in the intro, what separates Ergo Proxy from its fellow cyberpunk contemporaries is the fact that it adds a supernatural element to its story through the use of strange beings known as proxies, its religious symbolism, and themes of philosophy, psychology, and most importantly, Gnosticism. Not only that, but its visuals use a more dark and strict color palette to give it a more rundown and ruined look to blend in with the more supernatural and spiritual aspects of the world, instead of using the typical bright and neon color palettes that can be found in most cyberpunk media. So the sound for this concept album will have to be one that is able to successfully blend the standard futuristic and industrial sounds found in metal and electronic music subgenres typically associated with cyberpunk media, along with some more natural, organic, spiritual, and older styles of music. That being said, my ideal band that I would have in charge of this project would be none other than Russian cyber metal band Illidians. More specifically, the sound that they had on their debut full-length album, Damage Theory. This is because the sound that the band had on that album was the perfect mix between industrial metal, melodic death metal with some genty elements, and their atmospheric black metal roots, mixed with the ambient electronic synth style found in just about all cyberpunk and science fiction movie scores. Granted, the band's sound has shifted and evolved into rather generic sounding modern melodic metal and has lost a lot of its cyber metal aspects, but considering the fact that the lineup hasn't really changed all that much since Damage Theory, the band should be able to revive the sound for a project of this kind. As a backup concerning the synth work, I would get the Enigma TNG to contribute towards some of the songwriting, as almost all of his work appears to be influenced by both Yoko Kanno's work on Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex and Yoshihiro Ike's work on the Ergo Proxy soundtrack, respectively. Enigma would be able to add a dash of his signature bass beats, slow atmospheric piano and synth melodies in slower songs, and add a more haunting and lingering impression with the music. Finally, we would need a Gregorian chant choir, as Ergo Proxy's soundtrack used it to its benefit a lot. This would mean that the songs would have to contain Easter egg melodies of Ike's rendition of the Kyrie eleison chant, along with some more original chants to give the album its own unique identity. My ideal choirs would have to be either the monks of Silos or the choir of Downside Abbey Cathedral, which produced one of my all-time favorite religious music albums, Gregorian Moods, which contained pieces from Mozart and other great composers. It goes without saying that Tommy Shockwave, Illidians' vocalist, would have to be on this record, though the only thing I would change about his vocals on this project would be the fact that I wouldn't have him perform harsh vocals of any kind, since even though I love his clean vocals, I find his harsh vocals to be nothing particularly special. They are average and wouldn't really add anything to creating, or in this case, recreating the atmosphere of Ergo Proxy's world or story. However, Tommy's cleans are really good and fit extremely well with not just the band style of cyber metal, but in his guest work with bands like Synths. He has proven that his clean vocals can be featured on any kind of electronic-based metal song, and it would sound amazing and bring about a unique dynamic and quality to any song he performs on. So Tommy is absolutely necessary for a project of this kind to work. What would a metal album themed around cyberpunk be without this legend? Burton Bell and his band Fear Factory practically helped invent the cyber metal genre, along with bands like Strapping Young Lad, Meshuggah, and Cybereed with their pioneering sounds and songwriting. Anyways, Burton's gruff vocals would give the music that aggressive kick that it would need to complement the atmospheric elements, and his clean vocals would create a nice variety of contrasting textures along with Tommy's style of cleans. Obviously he wouldn't need to be present in every song, but I think his cleans would be best suited for the more slower songs, and his harsh vocals on songs with a faster and more aggressive tempo. As I mentioned earlier when discussing the sound of the project, Illidians initially started out as a black metal band, and their EP, Nexaeon, was pretty much black metal with futuristic synths before they released Damage Theory. And since the cyber metal genre often uses black metal vocals, layered with some distortion effects to give it that robotic sound which you can hear in the works of artists like the Enigma TNG and Neurotech, it's only fitting that this project utilized some vocal talents from someone who is very knowledgeable about the technique and has mastered it. Xena of Neobliviscaris is perfect for this aspect of the cyber metal sound, as his black metal screams have a lot more control and precision behind them, and he can usually hold a note longer than your typical black metal vocalist. Plus, his general flow and style would go really well and gel with the Gregorian chants, and he also writes truly poetic lyrics along with being a gifted artist. I would also suggest maybe Scott Ian Lewis of Carnifex as an alternative, but since he has only nailed his black metal screams fairly recently in the band's career, I feel that his performance won't be able to hold up to that of someone like Xena. Finally, you cannot have a concept album themed around Ergo Proxy without having some vocal contribution from the lady whose music and overall image helped inspire the look and name of Ergo Proxy's main character, Riel Meyer. Amy Lee's voice would add a nice, subtle and gentle touch to the music to really nail the atmospheric aspect of the sound home, and her piano skills would really add some of that early 2000s alternative metal vibes to the music, which would go miles in creating an actual distinct sound for Riel's character. Plus, the fact that she is a classically trained songwriter means that she could definitely add a bit more structure to the songs to actually make it feel like the music is telling a story, instead of having an album made up of random songs whose only connection to telling any kind of story are its lyrics. So for an Ergo Proxy concept album, it would be nothing short of amazing and awesome if Amy Lee were able to take part in such a project. Ergo Proxy's visual style, while unmistakably anime in its overall presentation, takes a lot more inspiration from real-life anatomy and body proportions, which is a noted and distinct aspect of most of the shows that Shuko Murase has directed or contributed towards. Other prime examples of this include his directorial debut, Witch Hunter Robin, and his recent character design work on Blade Runner 2022 Blackout. Not only that, but unlike most cyberpunk media, which either has a strong neon city lights color palette or rustic biomechanical and grey color palette, Ergo Proxy instead decides to mix the cold grey of the technological dome cities along with the earthy colors found in stone temples or ancient ruins. This, accompanied with its symbolism and themes, gives the story and world that supernatural air about it. So, it would only be natural that the artwork manages to capture something that represents how the post-apocalyptic and dystopian futuristic world of Ergo Proxy, mixed with the religious and spiritual artistic elements of eras long past, to give that mystical, wondrous and atmospheric impression to the listener as they follow the music through the booklet when they pick the album up. With that being said, there are 3 artists that I have in mind to produce such an artwork that could capture the aesthetic of Ergo Proxy's world and characters. My first pick would be none other than the show's character designer, Naoyuki Onda, who obviously is the most familiar with the show and its aesthetic, considering he was directly involved in creating its look and feel under the guidance of Murase. My second pick would have to be Yoshitoshi Abe, the creator of Haibane Renmei, Technolize and Serial Experiments Lane. His artwork would be perfect for the album art since his very muted and rustic use of color and his harsh line work always bring about a sense of abstract realism to his art and it usually creates this aura that makes the viewer unable to turn their gaze away from his breathtaking illustrations. So I feel that his style would be perfect for merging both the futuristic and the archaic elements of Ergo Proxy's world together into a neat visual package. My final pick would have to be, of course, Zen himself. Granted, his use of color is a lot brighter than that of Ergo Proxy's style, but for an artist as skilled and talented as he is, I am fully confident that he would be able to add new elements to his style to reflect the mood of the music and the story. Not only that, but Zen's ability to compose absolutely breathtaking, beautiful, and dreamlike pieces that contain a variety of symbolic and surreal meanings would be perfect for this project. It is without a shred of doubt in my mind that Zen is one of those artists who would be able to produce work that is almost entirely original, while of course adding visual elements and clues to give a more unique look and feel to the characters and world, while still recreating its general aesthetic. Thank you all for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to leave some of your ideas down in the comments below so that I can discuss them further with you. If you like what it is that I do here and you want to help support the channel, then you can do so by either donating to my monthly Patreon or by purchasing some merch from my merch store. Links are in the description. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media if you would like to get updates concerning the channel, news, memes, and other awesome content. Thanks again, and until the next video, take care of yourselves, and as always, have a kick-ass day. Cheers.